Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Energy Speaks Back, powered by B2B Energy. My name is Paul Webb, and I'm the founder of B2B Energy, and I'm also your host. And weekly, I present to you energy experts from around the world. Welcome to episode 138, and our purpose, as always, is to provide a good understanding of energy management knowledge from around the world, which is available today for us to deliver savings that impact on our planet. We would like to thank utility people who are creating a better career and future for people in our industry. Welcome, energy enthusiasts, to another enlightening episode of Energy Speaks Back. Today's guest is not an energy expert, and I repeat, not an energy expert, but he is an expert in his own field. My guest over the years has become a very close friend of mine, and he has also become my financial advisor. He has exceptional knowledge around the pension industry and the marketplace. So without any further ado, let's dive into the conversation whilst walking through the streets of London with Afrim Svarqa. So good afternoon, Afrim. How are you today?
Good afternoon, yeah, very well, thank you.
Are you looking forward to this walk?
I am definitely.
Well, you was looking forward to it, but then when I said to you we're going to do an interview at the same time, you was a bit nervous, yeah?
I was a little bit nervous because I tell you the truth, I've never done anything on camera or mic, so...
There's always a first time for everything though, isn't there?
It is.
There is. So Afrim...
You got to get used to it, I guess. So.
Yeah. So Afrim, we met 2019, I believe, in the summer of 2019. We were BNI members.
That's right, yes.
And we got to build the like and trust and the relationship.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, you actually become my personal financial advisor.
Yes, that's right.
So
I remember like today when you came in first, because I joined the BNI King's Cross first, and you came after. And I remember the positivity and energy that you had at the beginning when you came in, and how you wanted to build that networking group. So I really like that. And it started by that, and then slowly we led to and become a client and advisor. So.
Yeah, and good friends really, because this isn't our first walk we've done together, is it?
No, we've done it before as well. So.
We always pick a very cold day, because here we are again, big coats, got our hats on.
Yes.
But I can't say it's climate change because we are in the middle of February, so
that's right.
It's not as cold, it's quite mild. But here we are. So Afrim, as people can tell from our conversation, we know each other quite well. I know a lot about you because we've built that like and trust. I know about your family and what you do as a business. So for the benefit of our audience today, can you tell us a bit about your background and maybe your origin story?
Okay, well, I started working for the bank after I finished my degree in economics, and I did various different jobs there, and then I became a manager, looking after a number of staff, dealing with cash, managing the bank's cash mainly. Then I just thought, you know what, I preferred always to actually help people rather than just offering products that the bank was offering. So I said I wanted to advise people on things and become an advisor. And I was accepted immediately. So I became a financial advisor in 2008. Did all my training and so on. It was the first month that was a bit of a challenge because to a new role, but after that it was the most exciting thing that I ever had, because I had so many people to advise with investments and pensions. And then I became fully financial advisor, advising in insurance as well, which is personal insurance. So yeah, and in 2016, they closed that part of the business, Northwest, and made us redundant. So I went and started working for True Potential Wealth Management.
Yeah.
I had options to work for other companies, Prudential and so on, but they offered me interviews and so on, but I chose True Potential because I thought they were very upfront and very honest, and very clear on what they offering to the clients, the charges and so on. So I really like the technology.
It's interesting you say the honesty bit, Afrim, because, you know, as I say, I know you quite well, and honesty is one of your biggest core values, isn't it?
It's absolutely. You got to be upfront with clients. They need to know exactly what is involved. Investments, they are managed by the fund managers, which they know all the ins and outs, but clients needs to know the basics, the like charges, what they're going to get for the service, the technology, how often the advisor will see them, and the risk, which is very important, I think, because if you're going to save all your life so you can have a better living standard when you retire, and if you've been put into something which is not suitable for you, can you imagine the pain and the suffering that one can cause to them?
And I suppose you address that through the key facts, do you?
Absolutely.
And understanding the key facts.
Yes.
So, Afrim, I feel as though you're cheating us a little bit, because I know that you could have started and I thought you was going to start a little bit further back. Did you work in a hospital, first of all?
No, I studied medicine for 2 years back home in Yugoslavia, when Yugoslavia was together. So I came in 1990, 25th of January 1990 here, and I did various different jobs. I worked in construction, I worked in a sandwich bar, a restaurant, car wash.
But you used to be a nurse. You was a nurse, though, wasn't you?
I was qualified nurse, yes.
That's the bit that always amazes me, because that's like something you don't know about Afrim.
Yeah. It's really strange, because I loved medicine. I wanted to become a doctor. I'm not going to go into that reasons why it didn't happen back home, but when I came here and I just started reading about the UK and newspapers and about Margaret Thatcher at the time and the city and how much wealth is in here, and talking about investment bankers, and it's just I was fascinated with the finance and the money that goes through, which is like a machine for the whole world. It's and for the economies of the world. So I just thought, you know what, I want to study economics instead. So I went and I did a course first in college, business studies, and then I was recommended by my teacher that I should go and do a degree.
Right.
So I did.
So people are probably trying to work out why I've invited you to come and talk to us, and I've always been interested because for myself, I wrote a book about being a sustainable energy expert and, you know, building your finances around you, ready for the future. But really, when you delve into pensions, finances, etc., and energy management, it's amazing how the two are very linked.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that, you talked about risk just then.
Yeah.
Well, us as energy experts need to understand our personal risks of what we've got coming up. No one knows what's around the corner.
Yeah.
And we're plans, and my personal plan, goes out until I'm about 90 years of age. That's what I'm planning towards. Well, if we've got climate change, I shouldn't really be planning that far ahead, or should I?
Yeah.
Where do we look to that? How do we think about our risk? How do we apply that?
I think this topic has become more popular recently. People are being a bit more aware about the risk of the climate change. And the more they are, the more they inquire about that in terms of their investment, where the money is invested.
Yeah.
And it's the first time since 2008 I've been getting clients who asking, can you tell me about the true potential? Where do they invest the money and what type of companies?
They want to know what they're investing in.
And they want into environmentally friendly type of investments, and the companies start focusing on that. There is no escape from it, because if you don't try and set up investment funds and focus on that, they probably, in the long run, they're going to lose. So they're doing things like, for example, True Potential has taken 2 more fund managers who are a bit more experienced on investing into those type of investments.
Right, in
But
sustainable
in
businesses?
sustainable businesses.
Right.
But mainly at the moment is technology.
Right.
Because it's one thing that's really, when it comes to this sustainable energy and environmentally friendly businesses and so on, we got one issue here. Is you can never get 100% businesses to invest like that because of the supply issue.
Right.
Now, you could have a firm here that produces products which are built in a sustainable way,
Yeah.
environmentally friendly, and they are produced somewhere else, let's say, for example, in India or okay. So how do you supply
Yeah.
with those, with the transport that uses petrol and diesel and so on? So indirectly, although you're trying to do the good thing, indirectly they're contributing to it. But what the funds can do, and fund managers and investment providers, is to try and do their best
Yeah.
in terms of investing in those that they are doing something about it. Every little helps. So we all need to do our part.
These organisations, are they looking at things like their corporate social responsibility and their ESG? Is that something that you're coming across with these organisations that are looking to invest in?
Yeah, exactly. They're doing that. They look at how the business is conducted and all about the product what they're doing about the environment and so on and so on. So it's very thorough research and contacts between the fund managers and these companies before they actually can decide whether it's worth investing or not, or adding to their portfolio.
Yeah. Do you find personal individuals are looking at the actual companies that are providing that investment in the back, supporting their pensions or not?
Individuals as investors, yes, they are. I have been recently, I've actually been asked. We need to, because with our investment, because we got these 2 providers, 2 fund managers that do focus on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you have a diversified portfolio, my investors, they want to put all their money into those.
Right.
The problem with that is that you got to get the balance here right. Because you want to because investing purely into some sustainable company is a very high risk.
Yeah.
Because there's a potential for quite high for losses.
Yeah.
These type of funds that we offer are diversified portfolio, which you need to balance the risk with the return.
Right.
And therefore, you cannot focus completely and put all your eggs in one basket. In only these 2 providers, you have to spread it across.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult in terms of finding the information about it. To me, I mean, the environmentally friendly business investments have started many years ago. The conversation about it, but it's still so confusing even today.
Yeah, but thinking about it though, the organisation, and I'm finding this every day, for instance, not all organisations have an energy policy, and that's one of the first questions I ask an organisation. Do you have an energy policy? Well, really, if they need to be on your list regarding your sustainability organisations that people will invest in for their pensions, they need to have A, B, C, D. E.g., they need to have an energy policy. They need to have an environmental policy. Because I think long term, us as individuals will be asking that question. Have they got a policy to deliver energy management?
I think the more the investors do ask these questions,
Right.
the more will be these questions sent up the level.
But then it's education.
And then
isn't
it is. Yeah. Because it's.
Where do you think all this is being driven from? Is it being driven from the individual? Is it being driven by the pension organisations, or is it be driven by the organisation themselves? Who's driving it, or is no one driving it at the moment?
I'm really not sure about it. I mean, it's mostly it's a group of people that actually. I mean, it started with scientists giving the warning of what's going on.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, back home, winter, there was up to 1 meter snow.
Yeah.
Now they hardly get any snow.
Really?
Yeah, and imagine that. And during the summer, I don't ever remember having any droughts. There's no water. Now they do have.
Yeah.
So, of course, there is an issue with that.
Yeah.
With that. So we actually, the nature is forcing us to think about it.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, we need to do something about it.
Exactly.
And pensions and investments can play a big part on it because that's where the money comes from.
Yeah.
To invest in these companies, in these industries.
What has been done regarding the education regarding sustainable investments? Is it driven by the individual again, or do you think there is any education out there?
There is a lot of information about it, but in terms of what exactly the companies, the investment funds do, I don't think people actually fully understand exactly what it is.
From the
so
look of
they can do more.
From the sound in your voice and the look in your face, I think there isn't enough, or there isn't any education currently.
No,
it's only the likes of myself, as an energy expert, thinking about these things and engaging with people like yourself regarding that. And I think that's the way forward. Is it? So if there's no education, it's not likely to be this one. I've got a question to you about legislation. Is there any form of legislation? Because your industry is very heavily legislated regarding what you do. Yeah. Is there any legislation possibly coming around sustainability investments?
It is the regulation does state how, and you can classify someone, a business or an investment as as they call ECG, the environmentally sustainable.
Yeah. And governance.
Yes, governance. There is rules of how they're doing it. And it's like they do mark on based on certain things if they achieve certain things. But if you ask me, would those investments qualify for fully ECG fund?
Yeah.
For someone who really wants to invest there, no, they don't.
Yeah.
And I think with every provider out there, they're pretty much in the same place. And there are funds out there.
Yeah.
As I said, there's not many that I know that you could purely invest into those type of funds. But you got to bear in mind there's very high risk as well.
Yeah. And
potential losses. So you want to do your part. Yeah. But you also need to make sure that you have enough funds when you retire, because
it's funny, Afrim, we're talking.
They're all interlinked, isn't it?
We're talking about organisations heavily here, and I'm wondering whether this is like I'm shooting from the hip, and I'm just I'm thinking out my box basically. I believe that energy management is impacted significantly by the people within the organisation. So the organisation could turn around to their staff and their people and say, look, if we can focus more on energy management and bring energy costs down, we could make a pledge to invest in some of that money back into your personal pensions. There's a reward there, isn't there, that they could apply. Am I thinking too ideal?
This is the organization that the people work for.
Yes.
I think that's a brilliant idea, actually.
Yeah. That would be amazing if we could, because...
Well, this is where the government comes in, isn't it? The regulation is all, because there's rules about how much you can invest and what can you invest.
Yeah.
Because
it could be a tax break for the organisation, couldn't it?
Yes.
So they could get a tax break and they could make a benefit on reducing their energy, and it's a whole big ESG play, isn't it, as well, because they're helping their staff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would probably provide enough, because the companies can actually educate their members of staff about their...
This also opens up opportunities for collaboration, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know, with these organisations that they're prepared to invest in as well. It's a win-win situation, isn't it, for everybody?
It's the people like you also can do a lot, as well as energy consultant.
Well, promoting the idea.
Yeah.
No, I can see that. I can see the value in that. So, Afrim, how's the outlook look for your industry regarding energy management? Do you think you're going to get more alignment going forward?
I'm sure that we will. And it's in the last few years, it's almost impossible to go to any of these seminars where all these providers come in and talk about what's happened until now and for the future. There's always a session there about the ECG funds, sustainable investment as well. It's impossible not to get that. Yeah. So I can see that we are moving, especially, I think that a year ago, 2 years ago, I went to one of them, and I just felt that there's a really big focus now on those type of investments as well. And because that's where the pooled money is for all the people, so they have the power to actually decide to where that money is going to go and investment into sustainable businesses.
Yeah.
And
so I'm going to put you on the spot. I've got a couple of questions now, Afrim. Okay. You're laughing at me because put me on the spot. You're joking me. I thought we were just going to go for a walk, but we haven't even started the walk yet, really. So, Afrim, is there anything you can give as some advice to individuals that? All right, let's break this down. So, okay, I'm a new energy expert to the industry. I've just started my training, and I'm going to set my own business up. Yeah. What should I be doing regarding my business, and how should I be looking to pensions?
I think it's, you get sometimes, and people like they started their business, they talk to their accountant, what can I do? Because I got this spare money coming in, and says, and I'm paying tax on it if I take it as income. If I leave it in the business, it's just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then there comes a question, obviously, from the accountant's point of view, you've got to keep some cash flow, obviously, but also to minimize the tax that you're paying, you could put maybe some money into investments, like pensions, for example, because you get the tax relief. And when I get individuals coming to me in that way, they say, listen, I'm paying a really big tax here. I need to minimize something, and I was told that I could put some money into pension. I really don't like that, Paul. I don't like when they tell me that.
Because they're doing it just for a tax rebate.
Exactly. And the investment for the future, for the retirement, it shouldn't be for minimizing the amount of tax they pay.
Yeah.
It should be
for the right reasons.
For the right reasons.
Yeah.
So, if you can afford it, yes.
Yeah.
The tax benefit comes. It's
long-term.
It's a long-term thing. It's an additional benefit by doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
it should be top of your list.
And the sooner they start, the better it is. I did mention it. You remember this on the BNI when they did some research with a 20-year-old and 40-year-old starting a pension plan.
Yeah.
40-year-old is putting £400 and 20-year-old is putting £100.
Yeah.
They both retire at 60.
And they both got the same amount of money in their pot.
The 20-year-old actually got more.
Right.
Although the 40-year-old is putting 4 times more.
Yeah.
He's going to get less than what the 20-year-old got. So it just tells you the point that the earlier you start, the less pressure on you financially on putting that disposable income towards your future.
Do you know,
in
the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he actually describes that very well.
Yeah.
That calculation, there's a whole chapter around that subject regarding investment and what you should be doing at a younger age.
Yeah, it talks a lot about it. There's the money lying around. It's going to lose value. Keeping into the business account, obviously.
Yeah.
The inflation.
And I can vouch for that. I started my pension when I was 18. I did actually draw it out early, but I started back up again by the age of 21 because it's important for me, you know. I needed that money there and then, so you do need money. But since the age of 21, I've maintained a good pension approach, and I've always contributed, whether it be as part of my business, my personal business, or the company I work for, because obviously nowadays it's a legislation that you have to. So there's something that, you know, we need to let our listeners know. Is if you've got employees, you have to provide a service regarding their pension.
I think there's new legislation about, by law, you have to put it unless they
can opt
individually
out.
Opt out, but they shouldn't be, to be honest. I was talking to my wife the other day, and she's investing into her company, obviously, and she was getting a little bit extra more. The salary has been increased.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm going to get a little bit more from this. And I said, if you put into your pension, what would your company do?
Yeah.
And she said, they will match it.
Right.
I said, really? Whatever percentage you put, they put. I said, put it in pension.
Yeah.
And then we work
Maximise it.
Yes. And it's about £250 or whatever a month, plus it's being matched by the company. It's about 7% or whatever.
That's significant amounts of money going into the pension.
And then I said, we worked it out. If you took, I said to her, that money as a salary, you probably after tax, you would have got about £100.
Yeah.
But it's going nearly £250 into your pension.
Yeah.
So obviously it was more. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So this new legislation that has actually made companies, by law, you have to offer that, is absolutely brilliant because people are becoming more aware now about their retirement planning needs.
Yeah.
Which you haven't had it before.
Yeah.
And I know that the cost of living would put some pressure on some individuals.
Yeah. Short-term pressure, though.
Short-term pressure.
Yeah.
I think it should even go further and just say, you know what, there's no options here. You have to invest for the future.
Yeah. And I think as well, is when you're investing, don't keep looking at it. Don't keep worrying. It's a long-term investment. You know, you remember we went into COVID. I phoned you up and said, Afrim, do I need to be worried about my pensions? You go, no. It's long-term. We've seen this before. It will drop off. It will come back, probably come back and go further. You know, so it is long-term investment and you need to consider that approach. So keep an eye on it because nowadays you can. It's very visible, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because you get apps and things like that.
24/7.
Yeah.
You were not alone on that time.
Yeah.
It was a lot of us. I was not panicking, to be honest. I've been through the 2008 and I've seen it, what investment could do and happen. There was 100,000 in 2008, dropped to 60,000, I think, something like that.
So we've seen 40%.
And 10 years later, it's worth 170,000. So if you were one of those panicky person who would take the money out, you would have lost massively, especially if you are allowed to take the money out.
Yeah. So Afrim, it's come to that time when I put you further under pressure.
Okay.
And, you know, we have listeners around the world listening in today. Is there anything that you can give back to the industry, to our industry of the energy experts, listening to this podcast today regarding advice on their pensions or just the whole industry? Is there anything that you can give back personally?
I think the energy industry, they should take seriously their retirement planning needs. But at the same time, maybe they should continue on talking about it and questioning about the companies.
Yeah.
Because the more inquiries come through from the experts about their desire to do something about the environment, it will put more pressure on the investment providers to start considering thinking even more of what we can do, where can we invest this money.
And it starts becoming
Also
this
meet the client needs.
And I've got this vision now.
Yeah.
It's like a snowball, isn't it?
It is.
You and I are at the top of the hill at the moment.
Yeah.
We've made our little ball. We're now going to roll that down.
Yeah.
And hopefully the energy experts will come on board, the organisations that possibly listen to this.
Yeah.
You know, this goes out to globally, so someone may pick this up and understand that, there's some opportunities here that we can focus on.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, Afrim, it's been a nice one. I do apologise to our audience. We are out of breath. You wouldn't believe that the London is uphill and downhill. We're now walking downhill, believe it or not. We're walking down City Road. We're on our way to Stratford.
This is not muddy the way it was last time.
Oh yeah, the last walk we got was a bit boggy, wasn't it? But it's on the path. I apologise for any traffic noise, but you can see we're a little bit out of breath, and it's very enjoyable. It's a great subject. So Afrim, thank you very much for offering to have this conversation with me. And I would like to say, on behalf of B2B Energy, you and your family, stay safe in these times.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's been a pleasure. You put me on a spot. A bit of preparation would have done.
Yeah,
but
sometimes when you don't have...
I hope we send the message that we wanted to send to the people about both the energy and the retirement planning needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for this opportunity.